the Yanuka, the Rabbi Yanuka was telling us that in order to clarify all doubts, a person has to find his real will. You got to do some soul searching and find what your real will in your life is. And person is supposed to realize at the end that his will is to come connecting to his Creator. And he says that you should also know there's sometimes where a person thinks his will is something else. A person thinks there's a big concept that a person has to know called mohin de katnut, mohin de gadlut. That is smaller consciousness or larger consciousness. A person can have, as they say, lower understanding, a higher understanding, low awareness, high awareness, which means that every person, even if a person knows and is religious and he's growing and he realizes, I have to serve Hashem, there are moments where he goes where he has mohin de katnut, where he's a shell of himself, he's not on his highest spiritual level, he's on a low spiritual level, he's emotional, he's not thinking straight, he's not using his emunah that he usually uses, he's in a very low state, called low consciousness, mohin de katnut. And a person sometimes, when he's in that state, he thinks his ratzon and his purpose and his will in his life is one thing. And he says, I have to be a millionaire, I have to, get a certain kavod for people, I have to, see the world, enjoy the world. He thinks that, I have to be the best, I don't know, whatever, I want to be the best basketball player in the world, whatever it is. Some certain ratzon he wants, not necessarily is that a lofty and special and spiritual ratzon, but it's some sort of ratzon that sometimes a person can think that he needs and he wants. But he says that comes from mohin de katnut. And then there's a ratzon when you have mohin de gadlut, when a person has raised consciousness, raised awareness, he just prayed, he just learned, he's thinking about Olam Haba, he's thinking about how this world is temporary and we're going to go Olam Haba soon, we have to connect to Hashem, and he's on a right path, and he's thinking with all his emunah, he's thinking with all the teachings he learned, he's accessing his deep wisdom and using it. That's a mohin de gadlut, that's a higher consciousness. And there's a ratzon that you can get from when you're in that state, and your person's will, and that is a spiritual will, and he realizes that he has to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and everything he does has to be a means to reach that will. So therefore a person has to try to be in mohin de gadlut, raise consciousness as much as he can. But even when a person has a lofty spiritual ratzon, it could be that he's doing it for ulterior motives, meaning even when you say, yes, I want to be a rabbi to serve Hashem, I want to, finish the siyum to be able to serve Hashem. There's people who finish the siyum to say, look, I finished the siyum, so you can get kavod from other people. There's people who say, I want to be a rabbi, so other people will give me kavod, So even in that, the Yetzer Hara could also infiltrate you and make you do it not for the sake of Hashem. And that even there, a person has to use mohin de gadlut and raise consciousness in order to be able to do it for the right reasons. Now, a person has to know that really, what does it mean to have emunah? To have emunah, if you think about it, is a person is supposed to have a will. He's supposed to say, I want to do the will of Hashem. And then he has to find advice and he has to find tools to be able to implement that will into everything in his life. So Rabbi Nachman Breslev famously explained that emunah, if you think about it, is just advice. Having emunah is really getting advice and finding ways and tactics to be able to implement your will of serving Hashem in every single thing you do. And the advice and the lessons you learn that help you do that, that's called really emunah. So therefore a person wants to get emunah and get guidance. What's my will? What's my purpose? It used to be people would go to the prophet. You tell me what's my tikkun. Tell me what my purpose is in my life. What my soul I have to work on. Why am I here? What reincarnation am I here for? Who is my previous soul? Who was my previous life? And based on that, people would go, what their purpose in life? And they would say, you're supposed to be a zaposhnik. You're supposed to be a doctor. You're supposed to be a rabbi. You're supposed to be, a person with a kiruf. Whatever it is, And Rabbi Zino told Rav Chaim Vital, alav shalom, he told them, your purpose, your tikkun is, you have to make everyone around you do teshuvah. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm not a speaker, I'm not a person who does kiruv necessarily, He's like, no, you're not going to feel your tikkun. Doesn't matter if you learn all day, doesn't matter if you write books, doesn't matter if, you do everything else under the sun. Your tikkun specifically is, you have to do kiruv and you have to make people chazer b'teshuvah. That's what your soul needs. And a lot of times people used to be able to access that and have prophets, or the Arizal alav shalom who used to know people's souls to be able to tell that to them. But today a person doesn't have that. So what's my purpose? So how are we supposed to know that? So a person has to pray, maybe it could get revealed to him. But more than that, the Gaon of Vilna says, and many of the sages say this, that a person, whatever is hard for you, whatever is the hardest test for you, that's what you didn't work on in the previous life. and that's why you're here again to work on it. And therefore, whatever's the hardest for you, that's where you have to break yourself and to really unlock that potential that you have inside of yourself, and that's how you fully rectify your soul, and now your soul can go to heaven and radiate and enjoy from the radiance of Hashem's Shekhinah that wasn't able to do that otherwise. Therefore, that's why you're here to fix it and to unlock that potential, and it causes you have to break your body and you have to go and break your desire in order to unlock that potential in your soul. But that you tap into that when you realize whatever is the hardest for you, you have to overcome. So therefore, a lot of times people pride themselves. Oh, I learned this, or I did that, I gave tzedakah. Was that easy for you? Yeah. So Hazak Baruch, that was easy for you. That's not really your tikkun. Your tikkun is what's hard for you. If you come and you say, I sat and learned, even though I'm the guy who has number one shiur v'ki, I can't sit and focus more than 5 minutes. I sat the whole shiur 1 hour and I learned. Oh, that's something you have to be proud about. I don't know how to give tzedakah. I'm super stingy. It hurts me to get, it feels like I'm pulling a tooth when I'm giving tzedakah. And I gave $1,000 this month. I gave $100,000 this year in tzedakah. People think I'm crazy. My family thinks I'm crazy, and it's not normal. And it was very hard for me. That's what you should be proud about. That's what you should be realizing. It's hard for you. You did it anyways. Hazak baruch. That's called tikkun to tikkun. Saying that I do this, I do that, and it was easy for you. Okay, you're right. Thank God you do it. Other people don't. But the real tikkun, the real accomplishment, he says, is when a person does what's hard for them, and that's when a person really needs to work on emunah and then needs advice and remember his original will. Original will and our true will is to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and everything else is just ways to come closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Our work is supposed to, how we see the hand of Hashem in our work, it's supposed to bring us closer to Hashem. Our family life is supposed to be another place where we reveal the will of Hashem and make others do the will of Hashem. Our shuls, our personal lives, all these things, learning, praying, all these things are supposed to be 613 ways, 613 mitzvot, 613 ways to come closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So let us not forget our will, and let us not forget that we have Olam Haba, and let us not forget to have raised consciousness.